Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us. Please welcome John Carter and Ophir Gottlieb. John is the founder of Simpler Trading and a trailblazer in the trading community. Since embarking on his full-time trading career in 1996, John has not only mastered the markets, but also authored the bestseller Mastering the Trade, now in its third edition. His insightful trade setups and deep market knowledge empower traders to excel regardless of market conditions. And next, we are proud to also introduce Ophir Gottlieb, CEO and co-founder of Capital Market Laboratories, also known as CML. Ophir is a former New York Stock Exchange, ARCA, and CBOE option market maker and hedge fund manager turned advocate for democratizing financial information. That's a mouthful. With notable contributions to the Wall Street Journal, Barron's, and other leading outlets, he has reinvented how everyday people access high-level investment and trading tools. Gentlemen, the floor is all yours. Please take her away.
Hey everybody, this is John coming at you from Miami, Florida. I guess this lighting isn't too great, so I will rotate just a smidge here. Super excited to see what Ophir is going to be revealing tonight. As you guys know, if you've been with us for any length of time, we've been working with Ophir for many years. The first time he came out with a tool that could analyze option strategies and earnings, and I personally was blown away by that. What was really exciting about that was the idea of like, okay, you know, here you can run all these different scans, or you can pick a particular stock, but really look at like the best option strategy into earnings. For example, you know, buy a Delta 40 call 5 days before earnings and sell it 1 day before. Just things like that. Things like I didn't even know that you could measure. And Ophir, with his knowledge and extensive knowledge not only in options but in just kind of how they work and programming, was able to put that together. And then I came out with what I call AI Lite. And this was something where it was great. You could kind of run some scans, and by utilizing this, you could kind of, you know, tweak your annual returns based on a potential setup, just kind of giving you a little bit of different entry and exit criteria based on artificial intelligence. Well, now he's kind of taken this to the next level. And the things that are exciting about this, and this is what I've found and kind of, you know, where I'm looking to do with my own trading as well. I personally enjoy sitting in front of a computer and watching the markets move and stuff like that too. But there are a lot of times when you can't necessarily be in front of the computer all day long. There are other things happening. So from a quality of life perspective, I'm a fan of what I would just call intelligent alerts. Like, I might not be able to see what every quality stock is doing, but I want to know if there's a specific thing that I'm looking for, you know, whether it's a squeeze and it's 5 dots in and all the moving averages are stacked positive and it's on a 30-minute chart and I might have missed it. I want to know that that's popping up. Well, he's got the technology that can do that. I also want to know if you've played around with ChatGPT, Claude, in any of the AI stuff, and just kind of see some of the amazing capabilities that it can do. And now we're going to start pouring this stuff into analyzing historical data, looking for patterns that humans can't see. Well, that's what Ophir is on the forefront of as well. So at the end of the day, and you know, I always kind of like to joke like, hey, it doesn't really matter if your goal is to make $1,000. It doesn't matter if you make that trading gold futures or the SPX or NVIDIA. But at the end of the day, we also want to find a way to do it that I don't want to say takes the least amount of effort, because that implies that, you know, trading doesn't require effort, but it should be with the most amount of confidence. It should be with the least amount of nail biting. And we all know that, you know, not every trade is going to work out, but not every trade should have to be this like life's journey where, oh my God, I'm finally learning about myself and I'll never do this again. No. If we have quality setups that are coming at us, if we have quality alerts that are coming at us, and we just take the next step and actually do the execution, that's the goal. Okay, that's the goal. So saves time, improves quality of life, and increases your hit rate. So anyway, with that, Ophir, super excited to have you on tonight and everything that you're going to be sharing, and I'm going to turn this over to you.
Thank you, John. Thank you, everyone. I've known John for quite some time now, and I agree with almost everything he says. So I'm not even going to repeat it. I'm just going to say what John said. Thank you for joining tonight. I deeply appreciate your time and your attention for the next hour. I think we all know that time is the only thing you don't get back or get more of. So I'm going to honor it I'm going to honor your time. It's incumbent upon me to make sure that in the next 60 minutes from now, let's see, 7:05 Central, so within an hour or less, I hope less, you will have learned something that makes you a better trader. And it's totally irrespective of an AI-powered platform that I call Trade Machine. So what I'm saying is, of course, I'm going to talk about Trade Machine and our AI. But even before that, I'm going to honor your time by going beyond just the product, and I'm going to go into trading at least a little bit where, let's say, where the most common pitfalls are. It's totally irrespective of Trade Machine. I'm talking to you as traders. Okay. So this cannot be, and it will not be, simply a pitch. But that does mean in order to do that, I have to give you a short slideshow before getting into trading. So I'm going to start there. If you're wondering why I'm doing a slideshow when I can just get into trading, it's because of that soliloquy I just gave you. We don't get more time in life. I owe you, in a relatively short period of time, something that's valuable that isn't just a pitch. So I'm going to share some content. There we go. Yes. Okay. My entire screen, and we will do, I'm going to hide this. We will do a brief but important slideshow, and then we'll get into trading. But as you know, before that, I must read disclaimers. I will try to do them with as much entertainment value as possible. The results here are not provided for general information purposes, or the results here are provided for general information purposes as a convenience to you, the viewers. The materials are not a substitute for obtaining professional advice from a qualified person, firm, or corporation. Indeed, in fact, I would go so far as to say this is not a solicitation to buy or sell any security ever. I would even say this is not advice. I'd go so far as to say past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. And the last thing I'll say is you should read the characteristics and risks of standardized options, which is a PDF available on the OCC website. I hope you enjoyed the disclaimers. They are over. Okay, as I said, before I get into actual trades and some pretty heady AI applications, I just want to take a step back. Okay, while Trade Machine has immense power and the value, that value proposition is not just some bold claim of technical excellence, right? That's just not the value proposition, because technical excellence doesn't do what we're all here to do. What we're trying to do is to trade better. And if it's feeble technology or great technology, whatever, I just want to trade better. So in that spirit, I'm going to start at the culmination of everything I'm going to go show you later tonight, right, with just a couple of images. So I'm going to show you a snapshot of some easier stuff. I'm going to talk about some of the pitfalls of trading, and then I'm going to show you at the end, in about 10 minutes, how to create a portfolio of trades. I'll even define what a portfolio of trades is, and it is not just a long list of trades. That's not a portfolio. That's just a long list of trades. A portfolio has a definition. So let's start with one image. If after I show you all of this, you think to yourself, man, that was a lot of work, you can always just go to the Today tab. It looks like this. And you said, I can't read that at all. That's way too small on your screen. That's okay. Each one of those are strategies. I'm going to look at the one on the top left. This is what it looked like today. There's a strategy called Spread the Sell-Off. There's a little AI lightning bolt there. 7 wins, 2 losses, 218% return. If you were to click on the ticker, you would have seen the trade in green. You see where it says triggered April 16th, 11:32 p.m. This was a screenshot from April 16th. This is a new feature to Trade Machine. We have real-time options data, and we can tell you when something is triggered. And for Platinum members, and a Platinum is just a fancy word for annual, you can click the Show Options button, and for the first time ever, you can see the option trade live. That's for Platinum members, right there. Now, let me talk to you about trading for a second. This is the agenda slide. We did fabulously well with the agenda slide. Let's talk about trading generally. Okay, if you have not had success with trading, you haven't reached the success level you want, you haven't had success at all, you want to get better, there's a chance that it's actually mistakes here that explain your performance and not the tools you're using, things like that. Okay, so this is very much not necessarily about Trade Machine, and I'm speaking to you because I want to honor your time. It should not take more than, 7 to 10 minutes. But no matter what, you'll walk away with something, and it's not necessarily a trade machine. So here we go. For those of you who have listened to my webinars or seen me on TV, it doesn't matter. You've heard me say that for a successful trading career, I'm talking about the long arc of a career, right? John Carter does not look at Monday to know if his career is successful. Neither do I. We don't look at this week. We don't look at last week. We don't look at the last month. We might not even look at the last year. I'm talking about years or even decades. That final stage, that's what a successful trading career is. And I believe that traders need a portfolio of trades. I'll tell you what a portfolio is later. It's just a phrase for now. In a portfolio of trades, you'll have things like long volatility. If that doesn't make any sense, it just means you're paying for it. Long options, a debit. It also means you're short volatility. If you don't know what that means, that's okay. That means it has some short options in it. But you should also have setups for a bull market and a bear market. And here's where a lot of people fail. Everything in between. A market going from a bull to a bear, or a bear to a bull. If you have these things, you are at the beginning of a portfolio of options trades, and you're at the beginning of having success in the long arc of a career. How many crazy markets do you think John has seen in his life? How many do you think I have seen in my life? It's because of these. So in less than 30 minutes, you're going to have this. This is a little bit ethereal. It's like, oh, that's interesting, I guess. Just straight down the middle, explicitly, you're going to have this portfolio. But before I get there, since I will be sharing an actual portfolio of trades today, that's my job. You also have a job. And your job is this. A lot of people say they want to do something. I used to live in LA, and I had a lot of friends who said that they wanted to be actors. A perfectly reasonable, joyous thing to pursue. But what is not perfectly reasonable and joyous is to say you want to do something when you really just like the idea of it. And you say, well, that just sounds like you're just saying words to confuse me. Okay, let me make it explicit. We all in our lives have thoughts that make us really happy, fantasies, living in Fiji. I don't know. I don't want to put the thoughts in your head, right? Those are things we like the idea of doing. And they're beautiful and they're wonderful. They are the purpose of life is to have happiness. And sometimes it's just thoughts. But unless you're actually doing something to pursue that, you just like the idea of doing it. And there's nothing wrong with that. Just know the difference. And the reason you need to know the difference is because while having a daydream of Fiji and maybe going after that daydream will happen or not, in trading, if you don't know the difference between these two bullet points, you're going to go broke. It's dead serious. It's dead serious. This actually matters. In my opinion, if you want to be a successful trader and you're able to disentangle the difference between I want that and the difference between I like the idea of that, then your focus will be on the following. It's just 3 things. They seem so simple. Please, please follow these 3 principles, whether you ever listen to me again. Okay? This is 25 years of trading experience as a hedge fund manager, a market maker, a head of quant finance, academic journal published AI developer. Please. Number 1, you will need a process. In finance, we call that a plan. I'm sure you've heard it before. You need a trading plan. Don't worry, I'll make that explicit. It's easy to say. Number 2, I've decided to do things a little differently. I know Benjamin Franklin personally, and I said, Ben, I want to tell these people about how important a plan is. Can you tell me something to tell them? He said, Ophir, by failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. All right, let's not do that. You will need patience. That's with the plan and with yourself. For some of us, this is quite hard. The thing that held my trading career back the most was not that I didn't know math, and it wasn't that I didn't have a process, and it wasn't that I didn't have the 3rd bullet point. I didn't have patience. I didn't have patience with the plan. I didn't have patience with myself. And I said, Ben, how can I tell people how important patience is? And he said this: he that can have patience can have what he will. That means he that can have patience can be a successful trader. The last thing you will need to be a successful trader, and don't worry, the bullet point isn't going to say trade machine. I said it wasn't just a pitch. It's effort. And there's 2 things I want you to know about effort. I'm going to give you the bad news first and the good news second. The good news is better than the bad. Number one, it's probably not going to be as easy as you want it to be. You can just breathe that in. It's probably not going to be as easy as you want it to be. It doesn't mean it's going to be very hard. It's probably not going to be as easy as you want it to be. I'll tell you one thing for sure. It's probably not going to be as easy as you think it will be. I asked Ben Franklin, I asked Ben for a little help on this. He said, Ophir, laziness travels so slowly that poverty soon overtakes him. So that's pretty profound. And then he said, when you are finished changing, you're finished. This matters. When I'm talking about effort, I don't mean necessarily spending hours upon hours staring at a computer screen. No, that's hours upon hours staring at a computer screen. I don't know if that's effort. This is what effort is for trading. Okay, you ready? It is the ability and the desire to walk toward that which you are unfamiliar with, rather than go back to what you are familiar with. Because what you are familiar with has not gotten you to where you want to be. That means you must, by definition, go towards something you're unfamiliar with. Just because you're unfamiliar with it doesn't mean it's going to be difficult. It just means it's unfamiliar. That's all it means. So you take all of Ben Franklin's sayings, and I say it differently. Process, patience, and effort. So I gave you the bad part of effort, but here's the good news of effort. While it probably is not going to be as easy as you want it to be, friends, one thing I will promise you. If you get there, it's going to be more satisfying than you think it will be. There is nothing more satisfying than achieving your goal through effort. This is your Everest, if you choose it to be. And scaling Mount Everest, I wouldn't know, because that scares me. But scaling Mount Everest is probably awfully satisfying. And it's the difference between wanting to do something and liking the idea of something. Little bad news about patience. As much as I would love to go over that with you, I can't really help with this. Like I said, some people are just naturally patient, and this bullet point is just a total triviality. For me, it was not a total triviality. In fact, it was the hardest part. Know thyself. So I said you had a job. This is your job. Effort. Now, that portfolio thing, which is what we're going to do together, and I'm going to hand it to you. But first, let me tell you what I'm handing to you. A portfolio of trades you come to be historically do better at different times of market cycles in order to make the long arc of a trading career successful. So it is a portfolio. We have live help on Trade Machine now, right? We have Zoom sessions once or twice a week. It's live help. You can talk with the architect of Trade Machine. I did some of them. On one of the live help sessions, I introduced a strategy called Spread the Sell-Off plus AI. Doesn't matter what the name is. It's the green font plus AI. We're going to do this together. The tech sector, financial sector, healthcare sector, energy sector. Why am I going to do that? Because it's a portfolio. And why is it part of a portfolio? Because there's something else called Buy the Sell-Off plus AI. We'll do that in 4 sectors together. But that's when a stock is falling apart. What about when a stock has technical strength? We'll look at something called pre-earnings momentum diagonal plus AI. Again, don't worry about the names. I'm going to show them to you explicitly. Look at multiple sectors and multiple time frames. So that's when a stock. Now we also want to look when a stock recaptures technical failure, right? Okay, we got a bear market, we got a bull market. What about when we're a bear market and maybe recovering? So I'm just going to scrunch all this stuff together, scrunch it, and then I'm going to talk about the last strategy that we're going to talk about today. It's just called Fade the Dip plus AI. What I'm going to do with this strategy is not just go through the sectors and multiple time frames, but there's some red font here, right? It's when something does not work. Just because you want a portfolio of trades and you've identified the trades that you would like to create a portfolio in, and you've identified the sectors that you'd like to create the portfolio in, that does not mean that you just do it. You have to know when not to do it, right? I'm going to scrunch this up again. This is a portfolio of trades. And why is it a portfolio of trades? Because these work in different markets, different types of trading, selling vol, buying vol, mostly spreads, different sectors. That is a portfolio of trades. That's what we're going to do tonight. That's what I'm going to give you. I will be explicit. You can write them down on a piece of paper. Not that people write on paper, but let's pretend they do. Back testing is at the core of what I'm going to show you. It's going to lean heavily on our proprietary AI. There's a video for that. I'm not going to show that video. You can see it on your own if you become a Trading Machine member. It's short, 14 minutes. We're going to look for strong results in a sector first, and then we're going to find the best performers in that sector. And here's the best part. If and only if the sector itself performs well. Right? If a sector doesn't perform well in a certain strategy, I'm not going to look for the best performers in there. No. I want a tailwind. Trading's hard enough. 3 minutes on the AI without just talking about math. I am a mathematician, but that's not what I'm going to do today. So what is this AI thing we do? I'm going to give you a brief background. There are ways to look at how a stock moves. Let's just say daily returns, for example. Like, hey, stock was up 0.63% yesterday, and it was down 0.52% today, et cetera, et cetera. You get every day, you're getting these daily moves, right? These numbers, when you take a magnifying glass to them, they have characteristics that matter to traders. It's not totally apparent, but they do. Right? You take out the magnifying glass and you look at 10,000 stocks and 10,000 days of trading, and you see all these pluses and minuses, and it turns out there's characteristics, very particular ones, two of which we have focused on. One is like large moves, up or down, both, the frequency of them. People call them tails. A statistician might call them kurtosis. Doesn't matter. There's information here. There's information in another place too that our AI looks. So if the returns are positive or negative and how they come together. In other words, is there symmetry or is there asymmetry? This has a fancy name. It's called skew. It's different than option skew. It's a distribution skew. Doesn't matter. This is what we're doing with AI. If you're wondering, well, what are you doing? Everyone says AI. Okay, that's a fair question. What we discovered is that taking AI and pointing it at the stuff you see with a magnifying glass, that stuff I talked to you about, it starts to come in patterns. These patterns repeat, and they have repeated for decades through several different markets because it only interests me if it satisfies a portfolio of trades. Our AI captures these patterns and turns them into a signal. Remember, I told you, if I'm here to pound my chest on great technology, you would rightfully, hopefully say, yeah, but does it help me make money? Because that's what we're here to do. If we want to have some ethereal conversation about mathematics, I'm happy to. That's not what this is. This is to make your life better in trading. The good news is you don't need to know the details. I told you this just to satisfy some, scratch an itch. You didn't need to know any of it. It's just incumbent upon me to share something before I show you it working, okay? What you need to know is that when you see this little AI lightning bolt thing in Trade Machine, it's triggered, okay? And why do we care? We care because of the results, not because we can write cool AI. So there are a bunch of strategies. They're meant as a motivation. When I show them, this is not meant to be comprehensive. There's videos on it. It's fine. You can see the details. Here's what happens. And we have videos which go strategy by strategy, year by year, piece of AI by piece of AI, incrementally, how it's getting better, piece by piece. When you do this, you do this, you do this, you do this, you do this. Net, your average returns are up. Win rates are up. There is statistical significance, which means that it's not just luck, that there is something that, well, it's probably not just luck. We can say with about 99% confidence that we would not find such a thing unless there was actually something unusual going on. In other words, unless we actually have discovered something. In statistics, you can never say for sure. Most people look for 95% confidence. We're at 99.9. So just imagine your win rates rising by about 10% with 99.9% statistical significance. Let's live in this world. And imagine your average returns per trade are doubling or tripling. That's what it does. I have the videos to show you. I'm not going to show them now because I want to show you a portfolio of trades, but you can go step by step, item by item, in greater depth for each of the things I showed you. What does he mean by tails? What does he mean by asymmetry? Why does it matter? Why would it matter? When does it not matter? We've got all that. But the option takeaway is higher win rates and a doubling or tripling of average returns. And now, having said all that, I'm going to go into Trade Machine. Hopefully, I have satisfied at least a part of your curiosity before even going into Trade Machine. All right, that is the end of the slideshow. Time for the portfolio. This is Trade Machine. While this is the Today tab, I want to show you and build with you live a portfolio that you will own just as much as I will own. We will go to the Back Test tab. I'll even log in. We'll go to the Back Test tab. All right. We've added a bunch to Trade Machine to make it magnificently easier. So here's how we're going to do it together. You guys remember I had a slide that talked about something called spread the sell-off. Like I said, we'll talk about it later. I'll show you what it means later. Okay. It's going to be a trade, which looks like this. Current stock price is here. Stock's been going down. I'll show you what the trigger is. If the stock goes up, cool. That's fine. We make our max gain if the stock goes down, and our max loss if the stock really goes down. But by the time it's here, it's already gone down. It's already in a correction. So this should only happen about 15% of the time, and we got it. We don't have naked losses here. That's the strategy. Stock wants to go up, thanks. Stock wants to go down, I'll make even more. Stock really falls apart, all right, it's a loser, but it's capped. Now you say, Ophir, that's super interesting. How in the world would I do that? Go to the Saved Backtest drop-down menu, New to Trade Machine. Select Spread the Sell-Off with AI. Here it is. Load it. That wasn't so hard. You say, well, I want to look at a backtest for like 3 years. Okay, click 3 years. And you say, yeah, I'm not so interested in Amazon. I'm interested in like the entire portfolio of technology stocks. This is also now built into Trade Machine. You go to portfolios, pick any of these portfolios. I'm going to do the NASDAQ 100. What Trade Machine is doing now is it's applying the strategy and the technical open and the AI all at once, ticker by ticker, across the entire portfolio. I'm going to do this a few times where we go ticker by ticker, we do the whole portfolio. It's going a little bit slowly right now. I think everyone is following along. And just in case, I'll do it on the other server too. That's still going, don't worry. We ask very difficult math questions to get into Trade Machine. I'm going to go to spread the sell-off, load it, 3 years. Okay, we'll do the portfolio. Okay, this is going much faster on this machine. So another thing that you'll get if you're a platinum user, which is a fancy word for an annual user, is two things. First of all, you get 5 to 50 times the speed as Trade Machine rips through this strategy, calculating the AI kind of on the fly. Boom, 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 boom. Also, you'll be able to test a portfolio in entirety, and you'll get a summary at the top, of up to 200 tickers at once. If you're not an annual member, you can do this, but your maximum portfolio is 50. So if you want to do the NASDAQ 100, that's okay. You do the first half of the NASDAQ 100 and the second half. If you want the speed, if you want live options data, and you want the larger portfolios, you want to go platinum. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this happen. Now remember our rule. So remember this. I want to bring this image up as this is ripping away. I said this, blah, 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 blah. We only look for the best companies if and only if the sector performs well. I need the entire NASDAQ 100 to have done well in this strategy in order for me to even care what the best performers were. And here it is. Over the last 3 years, there's an 82% win rate for the strategy in the entire NASDAQ 100, stock by stock, over 500 trades, and an average return of about 21% in probably about 2 weeks. That's really, really good. Now, I want to know the companies inside the NASDAQ 100 that did the best. And I want to be told when they trigger, because I don't want to look at the screen all day. I want to be at the gym, and I want to get an alert. So sort by average trade. You'll notice when I go row by row, look at that blue highlighting. You see how I'm highlighting a row every time I move my mouse? I'm looking for companies that have at least 3 trades and that the average trade return looks good. And if I like it, I click it. Like it, I click it. Notice Marvell only has 2. I'm going to skip it. That's personal. Illumina has 4. EXC has 4. ADP, see guys what I'm doing as I'm highlighting? Okay. Biogen. Maybe you love trading Microsoft and you want to add it. Sure. Only happened twice. It's cool. I'm cool with Softy. Atlassian, Ross Stores, or Regeneron. Texas Instruments. 10 wins, no losses, 50% per trade. EA Sports, Qualcomm, ODFL. Oops. That's how you get the details, by the way. I'm only going to do this slowly twice, and then we're going to move more quickly. So I'm just picking the ones that have a win rate. Let's say they have at least 3 trades and an average trade of at least 15%. Okay. Here's AMD, 4 wins, no losses, 41% per trade. Okay. Up to you if you want Meta, only has 1 trade. Micron, a beauty, Gilead, XEL, Workday, Intuitive Surgical, Costco, ADSK. Here's Google. Here's Amazon, VRSK. All right, almost at the end of the ones I want. Fortnite, that's cybersecurity, and let's just stop there. Well, we'll do eBay too. Okay, so you say, okay, you just clicked a lot of buttons. What do I do now? How does this help me? Awesome. You go to Add Alert. So we drop down menu, spread the sell-off. 3 years, NASDAQ 100. Industry looked great. Now I want the best in the great industry. Click Add Alert. That's all in here. Might want to give yourself a note. Otherwise, when you do these, I'm going to give you 300 trades. You're probably going to want a note. So this is spread the sell-off. And I'm going to say the NASDAQ 100 just so I know. I'm going to click this button. There's going to be a yellow message which comes up. I want you to read that message. We just created 40 alerts. We have just now created a system for ourselves automatically with AI running in the background that's going to tap us on the shoulder when any of these 40 tickers trigger a very specific event. And since I'm here, let me show you how they did. Turns out I picked 43 companies when I did this before. I'm going to show you how just those 43 did. Same strategy. Here comes Trade Machine ripping through it. And of those 43 companies, over the last 3 years, we're looking at an 88.8% win rate and an average trade of 45% in about 2 to 3 weeks. And you say, well, what is this trigger? What is this thing? Scroll to the bottom. You can either click Technical Open or scroll to the bottom. Do Technical Open. It's easier. When is this thing happening? It's when a stock in the last 30 days has been down 10% or more. They call that in finance and trading a correction. Right? So the stock's in correction, right? I said we have to have a portfolio of trades, which means we have to have some things for bear markets or when stocks are kind of falling apart. This is that. The stock is also below the 200-day moving average. That means it is in technical failure, at least the way I define technical failure. This stock, if it triggers, is hurting. Our backstop is 2 of our AI measures. And those are the results we get. Okay. And that is how we get this diagram of profit and loss. Sorry, bring it back. That's how we get this. That's why I actually don't mind if the stock goes down. This stock's falling apart. It's in technical failure. It may have a little bit more to go. I'll make more money. That's fine with me. If it reverses, this is the current price. Okay, no problem. I'll take my win. But that's why this is so rare. That's why the win rate is 88%. Only 12% of the time is the stock falling apart here. It's already triggered. It's falling apart more, and then falling apart even more. And if it does, cool. I'm stopped out. No problem. Okay. I also said a portfolio of trades would have to be more than one sector. So I'm going to do the same thing in the SPY. Pardon me, in the XLF. So Trade Machine is going to rip through financials, JP Morgan, Visa, MasterCard, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, American Express, et cetera, Citigroup. And if you remember while we may all like to trade tech stocks had like, what was it, an 81% win rate and like an average return of 20%, something like that. Let me show you something that you wouldn't have known if you didn't have a machine doing the work for you. Look at the, oh, that's over yeah, is that 3 years? Let me do 3 years just in case. Yeah, I'm gonna do 3 years. It's worth it. We'll do it again. Sorry. There's Berkshire, by the way. So remember, we have 43 alerts right now. We've handed to you 43 trades. Those trades will occur when the market's kind of falling apart, like right now, and that's what I'm going to show you at the end of this webinar, the right now of this. We'll let it happen. Okay, those were the results. So it's better than technology. Technology was averaging about 21%. We're looking at 26%. Don't ignore the boring stocks is my lesson here. I'm going to sort by average trade. Again, if you see me go row by row, you see that blue highlighting. You can see what I'm deciding. Oh, I know what happened. Let me do spread the sell off. I have to reload the strategy. Sorry, I was clicking around too much. 3 years. And now let me do XLF one more time. Okay. Yes, and you can see how much faster it's going. So this speed upgrade is for platinum, and you can see it just ripping through the whole thing. Okay, I'm going to show you one of these at the end, which I showed you at the beginning, how it actually looks and what the options were to actually trade. Okay, finally, there we go. 85% win rate and 28% average trade. That's better than technology, which was at around 80 and 20%. Now I'm going to sort by the biggest winners. I'm going to make sure there's at least 3 trades. Just follow that shaded blue row. Check it, check it, check it. Nope, sorry. I will only do this one more time, and then I'm just going to start showing you results. I know that at a certain point you're going to say, I got it, dude. I got it. You check the ones that did well. That's cool. Prudential. Look at this one. 25 wins, 4 losses. Fifth Third. Goldie. You could choose American Express. It's only 2 trades. Depends if you like it. I do give a little room for the blue chips. Here's MetLife. Here's MSCI. Here's Citigroup. Okay, JP Morgan. I'll take that one. Been taking that one. There's Aflac. There's the ICE Exchange. That's a regional bank. Okay, do all this. And 15% return is kind of my limit. All right, now I want to add the alerts. Watch the yellow little message. 41 alerts created. Okay, well, if that's true, then let me see how those 41 did. Remember, we had 43 trades in tech. I'm about to show you 41 in the financial industry. And how did these 41 do? 88% win rate, average trade of 51%. So you're telling me that in a bear market, your trades aren't going well? I don't think you have a portfolio of trades, because when the market does what it's doing now, I'm making money. That's because I have a portfolio of trades. It's because I have a portfolio of trades. Okay, that was when a market goes down. Let's look at a different trade. Let's look at when a market's in a bull market, because most of the time we were in one. So I'm going to go to the save back test, and I'm just going to pull it out of a drop-down menu. It's the pre-earnings diagonal with AI. Picked it. Load it. It's going to load a ticker. Doesn't matter what ticker it loads. It's not a recommendation. Make sure it's 3 years. All right. Does this tricky little thing work in the NASDAQ 100? Let's find out. This is a trade which looks 14 days before earnings. Make sure the stock is above the 50-day moving average, and one of our AI markers is above 1. And it says, if that happens, I want to do this little diagonal call spread so I can take this 1-week trade and make some money off of the pre-earnings optimism. We need to make sure it works well in the entire sector before we decide to go ticker by ticker. This is a 1-week trade, very short trade, 1 week or less. 59% win rate, 16% in a week, I'll take it. You give me 17% in a week, I'll take it. You give me 17% a week for 2 years, and I'll never trade again because I will be in Fiji. Okay, let's check the ones that work the best. Oops. I'm going to give this one a little room. I'll take 2 trades. That's enough. AMD, Pepsi. This is a semiconductor company. Apple, 4-0. Who would like to know a trade in Apple before earnings that returns on average 52% in 7 days? I would. Biogen. The Bucks, Starbucks. I'll take that. Illumina tends to trade well. Nvidia. 24% in a week? Yeah, I'll take it. Booking, Amgen, Datadog tends to have this nice pre-earnings momentum. How about Microsoft? Ooh, how about Microsoft? All right, so I'll go down to, let's say, 15%. What I'm doing is just looking at this number. Okay, I will add alert. When I click add alert, what's happening is I'm going to get emailed and texted when any of these stocks satisfy these criteria. And in that email, I will get a link to the actual back test so I can remember what it is I was looking at. This is how the best performers in the NASDAQ 100 that I just chose did. Okay, Trade Machine's ripping through it. 74% win rate, an average trade of 64% in a week. 74% win rate, average return of 64% in a week. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results, but let me ask you this. If I told you there was a strategy that had a 10% win rate and lost 60% a week, or I told you there was a strategy that had a 74% win rate and made positive 64% a week, while you fully know that past performance does not guarantee future results, which one would you choose? Okay, I'm going to do the same thing with the XLF. The sector did well, trust me, and here are how my best performers did. This is now for a bull market, right? Pre-earnings momentum, stocks above the 50-day moving average. I only found 12, but yeah, 83% win rate, 81% per week. Again, am I going to expect those returns? No, that'd be awesome, but no. But am I expecting this to work over the long arc of a career? Yeah, yes, I am. Yes, I am. Can I guarantee it? No. This is one of our AI measures that's filtering it. Now I want to show you something that doesn't work. Because it's like, oh, this is all like, sunshine and rainbows. No. Remember I told you there was effort. Oh, by the way, if you do this in the healthcare sector, you get some pretty cool stuff too. I'm just going to show you the best results. Actually, I'll do that later. So I'm going to go to another strategy, fade the dip. Fade the dip is when a stock is below the 200-day moving average. Okay, so it's in technical failure and it's popping right back up above it. So it could be in a recovering market. So I'll do fade the dip plus AI, right? Just use the drop-down menu. It'll load one ticker, let it load the ticker. It's not advice, it's just a ticker to get it started. Choose 3 years. If that's how long you want to do your back test, you can do any length you want back to 2007. And let's do it in the XLV. Actually, yeah, let's do it in the NASDAQ 100. I'll do XLV at the end. NASDAQ 100. So remember, I'm perfectly happy to do this check, next one thing as long as the sector works. But if the sector doesn't work, I don't want the headwind. I want to go into sectors where this is working in general, so I can pick the places where it's working specifically. Fading the dip in technology in the last 3 years? Nah, man. And don't talk to me about win rates. I don't care if there's a 67% win rate. Basically, what I'm doing here is breaking even, which means I'm just paying commissions. I don't want to find the best of these. I just don't want to do it. So this strategy for this sector doesn't work. It doesn't mean this strategy doesn't work. It means the strategy for this sector doesn't work. And so I don't want to do it. I'm not going to bother. But you know what does work is healthcare. When healthcare is recovering, it tends to follow through. So I'm going to choose the XLV, which is healthcare. It's already built in for you, by the way. You don't have to build any portfolios. If you want to build portfolios, you can. You can have unlimited portfolios in Trade Machine. So if you want to add your own things, please feel free. Look at the difference. 72% win rate, about 18% return on a short put spread with our AI. That's worth going company by company. When I did that, trust me, I can check boxes. So can you. I got these. We have, I think we have Eli Lilly in here and Pfizer, Agilent, Gilead, Abbott Labs, United Healthcare, Regeneron, right? 38 wins, 2 losses, 65% in a month over the last 3 years. It didn't work in tech, so why would I bother? It worked in healthcare. Yeah, I'm going to bother. I'm going to add the alerts. One thing I should have been doing a little better is writing notes. You should probably do this for yourself. Otherwise, you're going to get alerts and say, what did I do? Fade the dip in healthcare. Just click add alert. If you want, you can put your phone number too, and then you'll get a text alert. So through all of this, I've been going a little bit quickly. I've added 142 trades. In Trade Machine, I've done the same thing for our members in 2 webinars. I've added 300 trades, which cross a portfolio of trades. It doesn't mean you're doing 300 trades. No, not at all. Only about a quarter of them work depending on the market you're in, right? If you're in a ripping market, you're not going to have the spread to sell off because nothing is in correction. Or if you have market ripping, or if you have a market that's selling off, you're not going to have these pre-earnings momentum trades because stocks are below their 50-day moving average. So why would you take that speculation? No, to take a speculation of this picture, right? Speculate on this, that if a stock goes down further, you'll make even more. If it goes up, you'll be fine. And if it really falls apart, sure, about 10% of the time you'll face that. And so be it. You're going to lose on the trade. Right? So I'm going to stop here for a breather to just make a few points, which I just made, but I'll say them again. If you follow this process where you just take a strategy, you look for 3 years or however many years you like, and you go to a portfolio and you just let it run. Make sure the results are good for the sector. If so, check, check, check. This process will end up with about 300 trades. And by virtue of the design, 4 different strategies which work in 4 different markets, it will be a full-blown portfolio of trades. But Trade Machine is going to do all the work for you. It's going to do all the alerting for you when they trigger. You don't have to stare at your screen. I'm going to bring up that slide that I had about what a portfolio of trades is. Do you guys remember this? It's just a screenshot of a slide. It's these 4 strategies. You can choose more that you want, and you can create your own in Trade Machine. I'm just trying to make it a little bit easier. They work in different markets. Some of them get long vol, some of them get short vol. They're always or usually spreads. They're in different sectors. All of a sudden, behind the scenes, you have a machine working for you that is automatically triggering you or alerting you of trades in the right time. You're not going to get an alert for a bullish long call when the market's falling apart. You're not going to make a speculation that a stock could fall apart when everything's above the 50-day moving average, but you don't have to think about it. That's why Trade Machine is here. Your backstop is the AI, which is learning. It says, all that. It's a down market, and we have a strategy which works in a down market. This stock, no. The way it moves, the way its tails move, the way its asymmetry has lined up, it's a no. Even if you would swear, like, looks good. No. No. So now you have been patient with me through slides. I said it would be 50 minutes. It is exactly 50 minutes. Through generating alerts with built-in strategies and AI and portfolios. But I started the presentation with this, the Today tab. If you looked at all that and said, I don't want to do it, I don't like it, it's too hard, you can go to the Today tab. It's the first page you'll see when you log into Trade Machine, whether you want to or not. Here's spread the sell-off. Here's CVS. It triggered today. Click on it. Here it is. It's live as of 5:50 p.m. April 18th. And you're like, I don't really remember the options. If you're a platinum member, an annual member, I got you. Here are the options. Long 2, short 3, long 1. It'll just do it for you. This is for platinum members only. Sorry, this part, the show options, is platinum members only. Everybody gets the trigger now. One more thing I want to show you that's available to platinum members. We now have a liquidity filter. So it's cool if a strategy looks like it works, but what if you can't trade the options? What if they're $1 at $4? You're like, oh, how am I going to buy that? We now have a liquidity filter, 1 to 5, where 5 is the best. So maybe you say, I only want to see options which are, pretty liquid, 4 or better. Okay, this list got a little smarter, but now when you click on one of these, right? Now when you click on one of these, here's a pre-earnings diagonal, for example. This one's 4 wins, 1 loss, 140% return. Okay, so it did not trigger by the end of the day. That's why that's there. But had it, I could have just looked at the option, and they would have been liquid. Okay, this is also only for platinum members. Okay. So while I encourage this, remember I had this one little slide, process or a plan, if you like, patience, good luck for those of you who aren't patient, and effort. I understand that for some people, the Today tab is just a better fit for your lives. I think going through the backtest tab, dropping down, 1 or 4 strategies and going check, 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 I think it's better. I think the Today tab is easier on the one hand because you just go to this page and click on something, and there's no effort exerted to create the alerts. The reason I think the Today tab is harder is because you do not implicitly know if you're getting a portfolio of trades. So you might be just taking the same trade over and over again, and eventually you're going to get run over, right? We've all had those days where you look, the market's down, and you're like, well, let's see how bad it is. You're like, oh, dude, everything I had on was bullish. You're like 11 losing trades. If you had a portfolio of trades, that just wouldn't be that way. You'd be like, oh, those 4 are down, those 6 are up, and that one's kind of break even. Having said that, it's your choice. You want to use the Today tab and fly, go for it. You want to use the backtest tab, pull down a strategy, pull down a portfolio, do that. You can do both. Now, there's one thing I didn't tell you, which I'm going to tell you, which is the most impressive thing about all of this. It's going to be one slide. When I say this, you're going to forget everything I've said. So take a deep breath. Remember what I talked about, even if you're not going to get Trade Machine: process, patience, and effort. Understand the difference between liking the idea of something and wanting to do it. It's not a character flaw if you don't want to trade. It's just a personal choice. I don't want to skydive. It's not a character flaw. I just don't want to skydive. Here's an offer that I will give. You've seen a lot. Hopefully you've learned at least a little. Hopefully you've learned more than a little. Talked about this. If you have not had success trading, or you don't feel like you've had enough success trading, there's a chance your mistakes actually lie in here. Right? So now you have to make a decision with respect to Trade Machine. You're like, well, I don't know. Like, kind of compelling. Not sure. This guy talks a good game. He's been doing it for 25 years. He's all over the news. I'm not sure. I think so. I'm not sure. I want to make that decision as easy as possible for you. And the only way I can do that is by doing this. You can get Trade Machine Monthly or Trade Machine Platinum, the annual, for $9. The only place, as of today, you can get Trade Machine Platinum, that one which has basically unlimited portfolios, that crazy speed, the liquidity filter, the live options. The only place you can get that for $9 and not $1,000 is right here and right now. You can search the internet high and low. You can go to our homepage, trademachine.com. Feel free. High and low. You're not going to find it. You're going to find it here with Simpler Trading. yes, you can try it for $9. And if you want to cancel, you go to your account tab and you click cancel. And if you can't find the account tab, even though it's very big, you email and say you want to cancel. And after 9 days, you're like, I can't decide. And on the 10th day you decide and you want to cancel, it's fine, guys. We're not here to trick you. It's fine. If you don't want it, don't take it. I'm trying to make this as easy as possible. It's $9 for 9 days. You get lazy on the 9th day and you want to do it on the 10th day, whatever. I'm not trying to trick you. This is effort. Committing $9 for 9 days to try to learn something. You don't like it? You don't like it. I'm giving you a chance for my version. It's not the only version, just my version of process, patience, and effort. That is the end of my presentation. That is the end of my slideshow. And I'm ready for questions. I will stop sharing my screen. I will turn on my camera so you see that I am a real person. Boom. See, I'm a real person. If you have any questions, is that 9 trading days? No, it's 9 calendar days. That's fair question. Sorry, let me just close these blinds. Sorry. This harsh light off my face. Okay. What's the annual fee after the trial? So Trade Machine Platinum is $9.95 a year if you decide you want it. I read a lot of comments saying individuals can never compete against the large institutional traders. They say it's fool's gold. Why would this not be true? And if you found an edge that works, why do you share it? It's a fair question. First of all, I found the edge before. It was in a hedge fund, which was bought. I could have done it again, but I'm not. And in terms of, with regards to institutional traders, let me show you something. Before you get off, let me just show you something. That's not Trade Machine. I need to open another PowerPoint. Just give me 1 second. I just want to answer your question. It's not about Trade Machine anymore. I need to move this other one to the side because you're actually not allowed to see what's in it. I'm going to show you something about the big guys. You wouldn't believe me if I didn't have a visual cue. Okay. Almost there. All right, because I'm going to share my screen. The entire screen. All right, we have another product called CML Pro. It's neither here nor there, but you say, well, the big guys, and you're not one of the big guys. And there is a company we cover. Make it bigger. And nobody knew why the stock was up on April 8th. Nobody knew. Like, why is the stock up? So Morgan Stanley had to put a note out. This is Morgan Stanley, as in the Morgan Stanley. I'm going to take this. I'm just going to cut off the top because then there's too much font. Okay. And what did Morgan Stanley send to their clients? They sent to their clients that Ophir Gottlieb, whoever that is, of Capital Market Laboratories, whichever firm that is, provided some incremental evidence detailing pipeline because he spoke one-on-one with the CEO. You know, when you're talking about the big guys, we are. Let me stop sharing my screen. Okay. Are these intraday or positional options trades? No, these trades are the entries and exits for every trade are 15 minutes before the close. Now, does everyone follow it? Do I follow that? No. I can do the trade when I can do the trade. Like I don't like wait and like, okay, 15 minutes. But in order to have a back tester that has to be rules based, we have to say this is 15 minutes before the close. I have no evidence one way or the other that trading not 15 minutes before the close does any different. I just don't have any data. I don't think there actually are some people who are very measured. Actually, they follow a very strict plan in Trade Machine. I just want to point out that our live help session on Monday, if you do that, you're going to do this 9 for 9. It's $9. Is going to be just for new users. So it's going to be very, very pointed at like, how to use this, how to use this. Obviously, I can't click every button. It wouldn't be an interesting presentation. So I want you to know that live help is coming Monday. Who creates the strategies like spread the sell-off? I do. You can too. You can create your own, but those that are built in are my strategies. Does the account size matter, or is there a recommendation? Yeah. So people ask me that a lot, and I've never been able to answer. So let me just show you I'm going to show you something. So I'll just read it to you. Investopedia says you shouldn't trade options unless you have a $5,000 to $10,000 starting account. I can't really answer that question, but that's what Investopedia says, and my freedom of speech allows me to talk about Investopedia. I do take PayPal. Yes, we do take PayPal. Does Trade Machine work for day trading or scalping at all? It is mostly not a day trading tool. Scalping, yes, but scalping would be like 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, right? Where can I find the deal at Simpler Trading? Can you guys put the deal in the chat thing? My Simpler brothers and sisters. Lorna is answering. There it is. Look, it's everywhere. I don't see the sign up button, just learn more. So I will share my screen and I'll show you guys how to do it. It's not hard. Oh, oops. Sorry. I almost changed my mic settings. That would have been weird. I'm going to share my screen, show you what it looks like, the entire screen. Go here. Actually, let me first click learn. Okay, I'll share the screen. I'm going to share the infinity screen just for a second, so don't forget. Okay, scroll down to I'm going to hide this. Scroll down to the bottom. This is a movie about our AI, by the way. It's 8 minutes if you want to learn about it. This is a movie about what backtesting is in general. It's just a 5-minute video, but you're like, what is backtesting exactly? This tells you what backtesting is in normal language. It actually talks about someone who moved to a new city and they're learning how to get from their home to the grocery store. Okay, as far as the deal, right here, $9 for 9 days for monthly, or $9 for 9 days for platinum, here or here. That's how you do it. Now I'm going to stop sharing the infinity screen. I have a feeling I'm going to start doing that a lot. Stop sharing screen. Okay. Just me and my hat. How does it balance the technical analysis strategy with the option strategy? So what it looks for is technical triggers like spread the sell-off. A stock is down, is in correction mode, and it's below the 200-day moving average. Right. So the other strategies have different technicals. That's just the fade the dip. Says the stock was below the 200-day moving average yesterday, and it's crossed back up above today with some other AI layered on top of it. Then it says, well, what type of strategy am I doing if I do that? Am I selling vol? Am I selling a put spread, or am I buying a call? That's all in there, right? If you're selling something, if you're selling a put spread, what you want is small tails, because your risk when you're selling something is a big move, and your max gain is your credit. When you're buying something, you actually want that tail risk. It's actually a benefit to you. Right. And so the strategies are tailored that way. URL for that screen. Well, here. Do you guys have a shortened one? It's trademachine.com/simpler. That's too long. I'll put it in chat here. That's the URL. I was about to read a gigantic, yes. I was about to read a gigantic URL. Do you have to be on a certain platform to trade? No, this is totally platform agnostic. We don't care what your broker is. We do the analysis and send you alerts. You trade where you want to trade. How easy can this be for a newbie to options? Thanks. I would say if you're a newbie to options, no matter what strategy you have, no matter what platform you have, no matter what idea you have, you must take the time to paper trade. And I know that means if you're with Trade Machine, then it's going to cost you $99. That is a very cheap fee for getting into this game of trading, because it's probably going to cost you thousands in losses. Paper trade. So how easy is it to use for a newbie? If you're paper trading, it's easy. If you're paper trading, I'm very clear. I never said that if you're a newbie, it's easy. I said if you're paper trading and you're a newbie, it's easy. You write it down. 4 different strategies. Here are the tickers. Here's when they happened. I would have taken this trade today. I got an alert. I want to write it down. Here's where it would have closed. Profit or loss. Write it down. Write it down. Please don't jump into options trading. If we start with $9 for monthly, can we upgrade after 1 month to annual? You can. Yes. So you can start with $9 for $9 for 9 days for the monthly. You're like, after a month, you're like, actually, I kind of love it. We can upgrade you to annual. You don't get the $99 back, but you can upgrade to annual. Does it offer exit recommendations or profit targets? Yes. So every strategy I showed you had an exit with a limit or a gain. A limit or a stop. It's built in there. I'll show it to you. And or technical closes. So yes, I didn't go into the great in-depth detail on these strategies because I wanted to communicate to you the idea of a portfolio of trades and how they would look. If I started clicking on too many things, and some of you would be really fascinated, and then a lot of you would just eyes would glaze over. And I don't blame you, by the way. You've worked a full day. It's not, So yes, on the help. So in our live help sessions, we go much more detailed into strategies. We don't just say, yeah, drop down menu. That's not how you look at trades. You understand what you're doing, where you can lose money, when you get in, when you get out. So yes, it's all in Trade Machine. Do you provide training on how to create your own strategies? Yes. If you go to live help and ask for that, we will create some strategies with you for sure. Absolutely. It's very easy. It's point and click, but yes. And someone said, thanks. You're welcome. All right, guys. I think that is all the questions. That is the best I can do. I hope you found this at least somewhat valuable, even if you don't want Trade Machine. I hope that I made it as easy as possible for you to try Trade Machine. $9 for 9 days, best I could do. Are there any training videos? Yes. So I will share the screen. You guys should know this. Share the entire screen. It's a good question. Okay, it's going to be infinity screen for a second. Don't worry. Let me go to regular Trade Machine. So we have an extensive AI-driven, of course, AI-driven learning tab. It's called, you see what I did? I went to Learn tab. It is also AI-driven. So if you said, what was that spread the sell-off thing? Right? You type spread the set, and there you go. It'll have spread the sell-off right here. How to do spread the sell-off. Or you're like, what was that tail AI thing you said? Oh, a remarkable finding of finance. Oh, I can watch it. So it's the Learn tab. It's right here. The Learn tab itself is AI driven. And by the way, if you really want to see something cool with AI, watch this. Here's our GPT. What is a winning option? Probably didn't spell the words right. A winning option strategy. What do you guys want? NVIDIA? Let's do NVIDIA, right? You just ask our AI, what's an option strategy for NVIDIA? Oh, boom. 20 different strategies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. And you're like, oh, that's crazy. What is a bullish technical momentum long call? Just click on it. We've tied GPT into our system. It will bring up the back test and you say, oh, 593%? 5 wins, 2 losses? I would love to know when that happens. Bam, add alert. So we're tied into ChatGPT. I'm going to stop sharing my screen again because this gets wildly confusing, to tell you the truth. Okay, guys. Can I use this for other country financial markets? No, only US markets. Fair question. How much was the annual again? Annual is $9 for 9 days. And then if you decide you want it, it's $9.95, which comes out to $83 a month. How many trades does the system give a week on average? Well, that depends on you. How many alerts are you going to set? If you want to use the Today tab, 15 or 20 a day. It depends on what's going on. Again, each of those strategies on the Today tab are for different markets. So maybe some days there will be 7. Maybe some days there will be 30. Maybe you only want ones which have a high liquidity. Maybe you only want to look at ones in NASDAQ 100. Number 3, how long is 9 for 9 day promotion available? That's fair. This annual promotion, 9 for 9, which can be found nowhere else in the world but on this webinar, will expire on Sunday. Today is Thursday. You have until Sunday. That doesn't mean Monday. Doesn't mean Monday at 6 a.m. That's it. Okay, guys. Have a fabulous, fabulous evening. I hope that I've added some value to your life. I can't give you these 70 minutes back, so I hope those 70 minutes were worth something to you. If not, I would be tragically sad. The live session on Monday, I think, is 11 a.m. Pacific, but the recording is sent out, and we switch our live sessions between 11 a.m. Pacific and 3 p.m. Pacific or 4 p.m. Pacific. I should know more. But we switch between during market and after market. I have to close this because otherwise I can't read. Yeah. Okay. Yes, after the 9-day period, you can subscribe monthly. Absolutely. So you can go to that page and just choose the monthly version. It's fine. Absolutely. You don't have to get platinum. You're going to end up switching to platinum anyway. Trust me, but it's fine. You don't have to. Okay, guys. Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate that you've taken the time to listen to me. I take it very seriously that you've given me 70 minutes of your life. I've given you 70 minutes of my life. I hope at the very least you were entertained. Thank you so very much, and have a fabulous rest of your week, a fabulous weekend. And I know some of you are not doing well, you're in pain. And if that's the case, then I want you to know that while I don't know you, I care. And I hope that I'm talking about trading, just in life. Like, I have a little mantra. Sometimes it's really hard to envision good, like just life being good. So I try to think on bad days, what if tomorrow wasn't good, but what if it was better? Just better. And then what if I got to tomorrow and it was better, and I didn't, then the next day it's just things aren't going to be good. But what if the day after that was also better? Try to string together a few betters. I'm not talking about trading, just talking about life. If you can string together a few betters, soon enough you could be a good. Okay. Have a fabulous evening. Bye, guys.